Hello, my name is Cynthia Alice Anderson, and I'm the owner and founder of the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. We are now completing 3 years of being on the air, and I wanted to personally thank you for all of your support. As a listener, as you share the podcast on your social media pages, and for your financial support. We would not be where we are today without this amazing support, which is in over 80 countries and 150,000 downloads worldwide. So I thank you, dear friend. I'm grateful we get to walk this journey together, and I cannot wait to see what we're able to do in another 3 years. Thank you again, dear friend, and blessings on the journey.
Supportek Staffing presents The Authentic Spiritual Journey, a weekly show featuring real and practical spiritual conversations from diverse perspectives here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. Today, episode 173, Setting Intention. And now your host, Reverend Cynthia Alice Anderson.
Hello and welcome to The Authentic Spiritual Journey. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I'm the host, and I'm here this morning in 818 Studios with my producer.
Hello, everybody. This is Dave Croft. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 173 of The Authentic Spiritual Journey. As always, I welcome you to the week. I hope you had a stellar weekend as we settle into October, and so glad to have you with us today.
Yes, happy Monday. We always love to be the first ones to welcome you into the week. It's an awesome day. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see Dave's new specs.
Whoa. I'm going to have to put a video spec there, video picture.
It almost feels like those are branded because you got on your Experience of the Soul shirt with those white specs. Those are awesome.
Got my EOTS shirt, got my... Yeah, I just thought I'd mix it up a little bit. And,
I love it.
And I remember, I forget, somebody at church had some glasses, and I'm just like, man, those are amazing glasses.
Those are rad.
And it's Zenni, right? The eyewear company, and they're pretty inexpensive, and so I don't have an overly complicated prescription, and so I just ordered a couple, so I'll switch them out. I have a blue pair and a clear pair, and so just being that guy with differing glasses.
That's cool. No, that's hip. It's happening. It's now. Well, Dave, you know that I was going to call this show "Enjoy the Journey," and it's fun things like that you're living it, man. You're living it. It's like life is meant to be full of joy and love and peace, and I think, we're so locked into news cycles of being scared all the time that we forget to enjoy life and enjoy the journey we're on, and so I love when I see somebody doing something that's, I don't know, I'll call it offbeat a little bit. It's funny because I was watching this documentary last night. It's about drummers. It's called Count Me In. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really mostly about European drummers because some of the U.S.'s best drummers were not interviewed. But anyway, it was a great documentary, and several of those guys had on cool shades. But they all had their vibe and their look. They all had this sense of cool that went beyond a fad or what society said. It was their vibe and their look and their thing. And I really like that. So I especially like your specs this morning because it's like a way of self-expression is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, like with the beard.
And you're a drummer too.
Right.
Yeah, like your beard too. Exactly.
I want to go and tell my nerdy high school self, just hang on, little baby Dave. It's going to get better.
Hang on, Dave, because you're going to get Trey cool.
Right. You're going to lose all your hair, but man, you're going to rock some awesome shades and you're going to have a nice manly beard.
Exactly. Yes.
Well,
your beard will be so long it needs maintenance.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. I've started blow drying it and everything. So.
Oh, I know. There's products for your beard.
100%.
I've heard. No wonder I have all these guy friends. I'm interested in stuff like that.
I think I spend more time on my beard than Shannon does her hair. And that is a comment on how much time I spend on my beard, not how much time she spends on her, and the money and product and my beard appointments, and all that. So
gotta do it, man.
I'm making up for about 20 years of not not really
of like
caring.
no personal maintenance.
Exactly. Just letting it go and like I shave my head and all that. Yep.
Oh, dang, I've got a cousin whose beard is so long, he braids it and it's down to his waist. So,
Wow.
yeah, he can play the heck out of the banjo too. I don't know if he's still running from the law or not. I haven't heard about him lately.
How many stereotypes can you tick off at once?
I'm telling you,
Giant
man.
beard, plays a banjo.
Oh,
running
his
from the
dad.
law. Tell me he's a
his
moonshiner. or a wizard.
Well,
he?
his dad played the heck out of the spoons. No education, and oh my God, could play the spoons like you could not believe it. It'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, I think when your
and
beard,
harmonica as well.
when your beard gets a certain length, I think they give you the banjo. I think it comes with the beard product. It's free. You order.
Hey.
They give you that. And the fiddle and the spoons and the
Yes.
washboard.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. That. Well, I've got a washboard.
Yeah, I love all that music. I am not disparaging it at all. 100%.
Yeah, well, it does come
stuff.
out of a certain way of thinking.
Right.
That's the same cousin that taught me how to catch fish barehanded. So, down in the river. So really, really cool people.
That's awesome.
Well, it's fun to have you along on the journey today. And thank you. We've gotten some comments lately and people sharing a little bit more recently. And we always have a goal in mind. And, I wanted to just speak to that because we're grateful for the financial support. We just had another donation of $200 come in, another donation of $10. And I can tell you, those gifts just say to us, hey, thank you and keep going. It's not like you have to give $5,000 to say this matters in your life. And it helps, keep us going. But anyway, we're grateful for it. And we do have a number in mind. The only reason we have a number in mind, I wanted to say, is that we feel that when more people know about this message, the world will change for the better. Like, can you imagine right now if everybody you saw on the news or in government was actually mindful of their soul journey, that they were responsible for their words and for their decisions, that they made amends wherever possible and needed, that there was forgiveness, that there was rising above. Can you imagine what the news cycle would be like? There'd be nothing to report on because the drama would cease. And, so when I say like we have a goal of this or we want to reach 1 million people, know with me, it's to change the world for the better. It's not so I can say I reached 1 million. It's so we can get this message to 1 million. And there are other wonderful people doing it, but that's my call, in this lifetime. And I know I might not do it in a year, but I'll do it in 10 for sure. I might do it in 4 or 5. So, so we thank you for being a part of this. And so today's show is a little bit different because I've had about 3 titles for the show. and one, as I said earlier, was Enjoy the Journey. We've already covered that we did that whole show in 3 minutes. And one of the ways, I really enjoy the journey is seeing how spirit responds, seeing how the universe responds. Like, friends, we are in this dynamic, relationship where, if we set an intention or we make a move, the universe responds. And when you're really working all of that, and I do use that word work because it does take, that daily check-in that I'm so fond of talking about, but it doesn't feel like work when you get those kind of answers from the universe. Where you start to get opportunity, where you start to get connections with people that are very meaningful, to you. It just in the last month, I've had conversations, I've had opportunities that 6 months ago I had no idea were going to happen, and for me that makes the journey fun. So all the time I was noticing I've been doing so much speaking and teaching and talks and stuff. I don't think I've ever in my life produced this much material in a given week. And I've had to listen to myself over and over with editing and things like that. And I thought, I sure do talk a lot about soul work. And so I want you to hear me say this morning, it doesn't feel like work as the journey is going. It feels like a pleasure. It feels like, oh, I can't wait to do my intention setting this morning, my goal work this morning. I'm looking forward to saying my affirmations, to just finding out, gosh, what is mine to do today? Because I'm going to check in with the universe and I'm going to do what the universe says, what I believe the universe is saying for me to do. And friends, that is fun. That is fun. And then we see, oh my goodness, the universe is very alive. The universe is very interested in what I'm doing. And in fact, is making a way for me. And for me, this brings a lot of joy into my life. That and a lot of coffee. I'm taking a drink of coffee right now. And, in a lot of my work recently with people one-on-one has been inner child work, but, just in our general journey, one of the things I found really enjoyable and actually important is setting our intention for a given day. And, the first time I really learned about the power of intention was actually when I was watching that movie, What the Bleep. Do you remember that movie, Dave? It was called What the Bleep Do We Know? It was a spiritual movie. Yeah. Dr. Joe Dispenza was in it. Garland Landreth, he's like I don't know, what is he, like a neuroscientist or something? I don't know. He's really bright. But it was when a lot of both educated and spiritual people came together in a movie. And Dr. Joe, of course I knew about intention, but it's like when you grow up in the Methodist church and a Baptist school, those words of setting intention, that's not really a part of the vernacular somehow. So even though I'd heard of it, it didn't really, kind of make its place in my consciousness until I saw Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's very well known now. Dr. Joe's a chiropractor, and in the movie he talked about every morning, setting this intention to see spirit throughout the day. And he would know it, through a leaf or through a feather or through a conversation. But part of his intention was very simply just to know the universe was working on his behalf, to connect with the universe. And I thought, why don't I do that? That sounds like what I want. And, what's so interesting is, even though, like I said, I grew up in the Methodist church and went to a Baptist school, well, there they would say, do your devotional every day. There's no difference. And what Joe Dispenza was saying, except that for me, it felt a little more alive. It felt like I was really expecting God to, the creator of the universe and the universe itself, to be in active communication with me. And so when I set an intention for the day, it's like I am calling the universe in to support me at that level. I'm calling the universe in to see this intention made manifest. And this is part of what creates the joy on the journey, yes, and this dynamic relationship. I say it's dynamic because sometimes things happen we don't expect. And we go, wow, that I wasn't expecting that, God. And sometimes, I know in your mind you might be saying, oh yeah, I've had that too. No, I'm talking about even better than we think. And so, there's this, for me, there's this peace, there's this knowing that in fact, the universe does really love me. And that as I'm doing that soul work, as I'm setting my intention every morning, I know sometime during the day, I'm going to feel this connection to spirit that goes beyond the mind. It's a feeling. It's a knowing. Sometimes it comes as a conversation. Sometimes, I'll see a sign. Sometimes I will, have an unexpected windfall or opportunity of some kind. Like when that donation that I mentioned came through. I said, oh, you know what? God's got this podcast. It came through an individual who listens, but I know that was God guided in her because I know who it was. I just know that was her guidance, and that's from God. It's from a person, but it's really she's the channel for God. Something like that lets me know, okay, God's got this podcast. I heard recently from a friend out of the blue, and it made my day. Somebody who did not normally call. It's like, you know what? I needed that today. Yes, I needed that today. That's a touch in from the universe. So see, that's what I mean. As we set our intention, it's like we make a way really in our own consciousness to receive all the good the universe has for us. Setting your intention. It's a lot of fun. You can do it as you drive down the road. You can do it in the quiet of your own home. You can do it sitting in front of your computer. You can do it lying in bed at night, just setting that intention. And what I find also that's really, really helpful. And I want to tell you, I'm just coming off of an event where I talked a lot. I've been doing a lot of talks on forgiveness. And so what's been coming up is that nightly forgiveness and that 70 times 7. And so, to go to bed at night, releasing the whole day by doing forgiveness, and then waking up in the morning and setting an intention. Wow, you can't get much clearer than that in your own consciousness, because it's like what most of us do is we go to bed at night and we bring the garbage of whatever happened that day, that week, that year. And then we wake up the next morning and do the same thing all over again and collect more garbage along the way. Instead of, okay, you know what? I'm going to clear the slate. I'm going to clean the slate. I'm going to forgive. I'm going to release. I'm going to let go. And then in the morning, we wake up fresh and clean and clear and say, there's this whole day out, before me. What am I going to do here? What am I going to make of this day? What am I going to make of this opportunity I call life? And then we set that intention. And I'm telling you, friends, this sets something in motion. This sets something in motion. Many of us have said, I want to be enlightened. I want to know God. I want to know the Christ. And without doing those things of forgiveness, of setting that intention, it's not going to happen. But if we do those things, every day we learn a little bit more of who we are and who God is. So just imagine taking that in for a minute. Wow, who you are and who God is. This is powerful. Some of us still have the idea that God is way, way out there. And I want you to know, as you do this work, you're going to find God is as close or closer than your very breath. That wherever you are, God is, that there's no time, no place you are alone. Even if it feels like it, God is right there. And as you, do this work of the soul, as you forgive, as you set your intention, you will be amazed at how you feel connected, how you feel loved, how you feel supported as you go throughout your day. The other day, I was listening to someone I consider a mentor. She passed away. I mean, it's been 25 years ago that she passed away. But she was a Unity minister. Her name was Sharon Poindexter. And at the end of her life, so she got cancer. And at the end of her life, when she was on dialysis, she was recording talks while she was on dialysis. And everybody said they were the best talks of her career. It was kind of a culmination of all of her spiritual teaching in the last, few days and weeks of her life. And in those, she comes back to some of the very basics that have guided my entire journey and that I bring to this show. Enjoying the journey, setting your intention. And yes, there may be times where you have to do a little release and then set your intention. This is what makes the journey worth living. This is what makes the journey dynamic. And friends, this is what will help you know and feel connected to the divine. to the divine that you are, to the divine that God is in you. So we want you to be clear and to know who you are and who God is. And in Unity, what we teach and what we believe is that God is everywhere present in you. Is God greater than you? Yes. But is God present even in you? Yeah, absolutely. You can never be separate from God. Your creator, you're never separate from your creator, right? So God is, you are, and this is how we enjoy this journey we call life. So we'll be back to talk about a few more things right after this brief break.
We'll return to the program in just a few moments, but first, we wanted to give a special word of thanks to our podcast partners, Supportek Staffing. Supportek Staffing is an innovative staffing agency built on the principle of caring about employers and employees as they navigate these new workforce and workplace challenges. If you're an employer, they want to be your human resource partner and help with the changes needed during the pandemic. If you're a candidate, they want to become your lifelong career agent to help you grow into your fullest potential. Supportek prioritizes support over volume, integrity over profits, and will treat your business and your career as if it was their own. You can learn more at supportekstaffing.com. That's SUPPORTEK staffing.com. We now return you to this week's episode of The Authentic Spiritual Journey with your host, Reverend Cynthia Alice Anderson.
Welcome back. We're glad you're with us. Dave, I didn't say anything the first half, but now second half, I'm thinking, is this really show 173? Wow.
That's right, 173. And we've not...
Are we going to be 80 years old? This just show 10,100 and...
that we should make it 10,000 more weeks in our lifetime. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. But no, 173, yeah. That's, I mean, I did my Drummer Talk show for 11 years, and I wasn't nearly this faithful with bringing shows out I would take the summers off, because I was teaching college and traveling and everything. But we're coming up on 173 episodes. We're coming up on my milestone of 200 and something episodes of Drummer Talk. So that's nothing to sneeze at.
I was thinking actually next year of doing that, taking a month where we do our most listened to shows, like having a whole month be an encore month. So if you have a vote on that, let us know. Yeah. Like, I really like that one, or, we've had a lot of watches and listens on the John Two Hawks interview that just came out too. So, it's funny that we're talking about enjoying the journey and setting intention and all that, because, I always use the podcast as an example, of all of these teachings. And, in addition to, enjoying and setting our intention, there's also the desire, that's in there. And, for me, I don't know if it's my personality type, if it's just what my soul was here to do, but I have always had such a strong desire to grow. And, when I was about 15, that was when I really became very engaged in my own spiritual journey in a way that was, different from my younger years. And even though when I was about 12, I had this moment where I felt like I accepted Jesus. And that was a real important time as well. But obviously that was very important, but there was something that turned on in me at 15, and it was like, I really want to grow and I want to heal. And so I think it's important as we, march forward on the journey to just be mindful of what are we desiring to do and to be. And, I used to, worry, is this my ego or is this my soul? Well, the good news is if it's your ego, it won't last. So you don't have to worry. There's a self-correcting aspect of the journey. And, if it is ego, it doesn't last or it doesn't sustain. And that's all fine and good. I think Spirit uses, our ego to move us forward. If I didn't love to talk and bring spiritual messages, I'm quite sure the show would not be successful. Right? So Spirit is using this aspect of my personality to help get a spiritual message out to the world.
And you certainly wouldn't make it to 173 episodes. You can't fake it for 173 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. And the main thing, like as we talked about so much in September, I don't want to, keep going on this, but it was like, at the beginning, it was like, support or not, this is what I'm supposed to do. Money or not, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I've really maintained that. We've had some wonderful supporters throughout the years, but there have been months where, there was not very much support and I just kept moving forward anyway. And, that always swings a little bit, but my desire is so strong to reach people. And anytime I question it, I say, okay, Spirit, so I do not have to do this podcast. I check in, and I say, I want to reach people. I want to do this. And then I hear, oh, we're averaging over 5,000 downloads a month. And I go, well, I'm showing up for work on Monday morning at 7 a.m. because that excites me. That is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so that's what I'm saying, friends, as we're working this journey, it's so fun to go, oh my goodness, yes, that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. So I think just check in with yourself and your desires and see, are my behaviors, are my actions in line with what it is I say I want? I think that's really important to just, get clear with yourself about what it is that really, really matters to you. And, for me, it's not just work where we set those intentions and think about those desires. It's my quality of life, what I want my home to be like, what I want my, relationship with my son, and what I want any intimate relationships to be about. It's getting clear about that. I'm in a real important life stage right now. I'm more than halfway through, this journey we call life. And it's like, well, what do I really want my life to be about? And COVID really also put that into perspective for me. It's like, wow, if I were to die today, am I really doing what it is I'm supposed to be doing? So that desire is really important to just be clear about. This is a funny example of this, but I have this real intention about my home and my yard. And a couple months ago, I hurt my back. It's really not major, but I've had to limit some of my physical activity, and it's healing and all good. I don't need recommendations for doctors or anything. I'm healing and all good. But one of my intentions, with my backyard area, it's my sanctuary really, is to have butterflies and birds. And, we've talked a little bit about that. And even on a couple of recordings, sometimes you've heard the birds chirping. Well, the other day, I'd planted these plants back there. And a couple of days ago, I was out there and I saw this beautiful hummingbird lighting on the different plants. And then I saw butterflies and I was like, oh, it's been created. I do have a backyard sanctuary. Doesn't matter that there's more weeds because I haven't been able to pull them. This is a sanctuary for animals. This is a sanctuary for me as I go and trim the roses that were my grandmother's. This is a sanctuary. So, I'm saying all of the aspects of life are important. A lot of times I talk about career and work because, well, I'm a single parent and I am working to, support my small family. And so I'm thinking a lot about career, but it's all the aspects of my life that I want to work. Even my intellectual life is really important. I'm in school. I'm embarking on a second year. I hadn't shared this with you, Dave, but, I'm in the program to become what's called an archetypal pattern analyst. And, people always go, what's that? Well, basically we look at life from an archetypal perspective. There are definite patterns and fields of consciousness, and certain things are born out of those fields. And so how to recognize what those fields are and what those patterns are is very helpful as we navigate life and as I help others with their dreams, with their journey, even with their careers, because certain behaviors and certain patterns are archetypal. And so anyway, it's real important to me to be intellectually stimulated. And a part of my intention, is to really broaden the audience that I reach. And it's also to broaden my understanding of the world. Well, to do that, I needed education. So even though, like somebody said to me, well, what is that going to get you? And I go, what do you mean? What is it going to get me? Are you going to have a degree? I said, well, it'll be a certification. It's a certification through a CC Institute. It's not a master's. It's just a certification. So, theoretically, people will recommend me to help and work on certain things. For instance, the man who started a CC, he often works with script writers to let script writers know. We had one of those writers on to let those script writers know what is archetypally, correct for a movie or for a various scene, So, but I'm not doing it to get anything other than to learn and to have intellectual stimulation. When you're constantly giving out, you have to be also in a receiving mode. So that's part of my intention for my life and for my world. So it doesn't have to do with necessarily my spiritual work, and yet it has everything to do because of the way it helps me see the world. So part of my intention for my own life is to have a beautiful home, a beautiful yard, and, my life to work all the time. So that's what I mean about setting your intention. It doesn't have to be, like I say, I often talk about career, but for me, all of those other more intimate aspects are far more important than career. They're just so deeply, deeply personal. I don't talk about those as much, but I hope, friends, you're thinking about that as well. What do you want your home, your life, your surroundings? What do you want that to be? Like, what makes you feel nurtured and loved? And that's been a real journey for me. And I think also navigating the change that happens as we do move forward, because, when you start setting intention and you start really getting engaged with the universe, sometimes things move very quickly. And, it's not like a 1, 2, 3. We say, well, I had this man I was working with. I've known him many years, and he said to me, is there a roadmap for this thing? Like, what's my 1, 2, 3 on this spiritual journey? And I started laughing. I said, if I knew that, I'd definitely be an instant millionaire. But problem is, there's not exactly a 1, 2, 3. My 1, 2, 3 is your 5, 6, 7. And, so you have to be able to navigate change. And one of the reasons I say enjoy the journeys, forgive and set your intention, is because change is coming. And so how do we move through that? How do we move through that? So, and I think the real key is just commitment to the principles, commitment to the principles. As you seek to live a God-centered life, you are going to have opportunities to grow, to prosper, to evolve. Those are my 3 words I love to say: to grow, to prosper, and evolve. And so if those growth moments come and you go, I don't want that, or I refuse to do that, or I don't feel like that right now, you may miss your window of opportunity to grow. So the commitment to the journey is vital if you are wanting to move forward in a meaningful way on the soul journey. I have a friend that says, and she's a dear, dear friend. I've known her 25 years. And she always says to me, I'm not coming back next lifetime. She says, I'm going to learn all I can and get as spiritual as I can this lifetime. And I said, well, if you get that spiritual, you're probably going to want to come back to help all of us who haven't made it as far as you. She said, well, that's true. But she's so committed to her journey. She goes, I see that the life with God is better than this old world. And I want to bring all the good I can into my life and into the world right now. And that inspires me when she says stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I want to be that committed to my journey. That's like, I'm going to do as much good as I can in the time I have. I think that's super, super important. So if you're thinking right now, I feel like I'm in church right now, Dave. I was going to say, if you're thinking right now about what it is that's next for you, I want you to take some time. My hope for you, I should say, is that you would spend time, that you would love yourself enough to spend a little time getting clear about what does matter most to you. And don't let yourself be so taken in by the fear-mongering of our news media. And I want you to know that you can make your own headline. You can make your own happiness. You don't have to be in fear. You don't have to be saying everybody who's wrong. I want you to pull back from all of that and just get really quiet and get with you and God. Unplug, and look back at your journey and just enjoy. Just imagine all that you've been through in the last 6 months or even year, and look at where you are now. Enjoy that. Honor that, and then say, I think I'm going to start every morning. I'm going to start getting up and just setting an intention for the day. See if that doesn't change your life for the better. As you get clear about really, what is that desire? Is it to be more? Is it to do more? Is it to have more? Is it all of those at once? What are those qualities, that you're really looking to have your life about? And I think as you do look closer, it really will not be much about having. It's going to be about the qualities of love, of kindness, of connection, of community, of gentleness, faith, all of those that the scriptures say are the fruits of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace. And so I hope you'll just take some time to see what are those desires, what are you really needing to move forward on the journey, and just be willing to, ride that change as it happens, as the universe is so engaged, with you and your process, and then stay committed to it. Because friends, as you commit to this work, your soul is going to be happy. You're going to feel free. And frankly, you will feel at peace. And as we look at on our world right now, we can see that there is not much of that. So this is my hope, that you can just rise above some of the fray and get clear about what's yours to do, and do it with a lot of love, with a lot of faith, with a lot of joy, to move forward on your journey to do what's yours to do. So we do thank you, as always, for joining us today. We bless you on the journey, and we're here for you, friends. If there's something that's really on your heart that we're not covering, that you'd say, I'd love to hear your perspective on that, let us know. We have some wonderful shows planned. We've had a great interview last week and another one coming at the end of the month. So a lot of great programming we're bringing to you. Thank you for your support. And as always, dear friends, see you next week, and blessings on the journey.
We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of The Authentic Spiritual Journey, presented by Supportek Staffing. This channel is also made possible because of listeners just like you. If you would like to support the channel with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Authentic Spiritual Journey is copyright 2021 Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Croft and used with permission from R.R. Hot Publishing. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.